Every year, millions around the world dream of cracking the American dream. A few thousand make it. Many thousands keep trying to get hold of an American visa that would take them to the land of opportunity. For that dream alone, the H-1B visa is the most in demand of the various US work visa options that offer foreign professionals a path to work in the United States. The H-1B visa is not a one-way dream. It is a two-way street that opens up access to global talent for American companies as well. President Trump of the United States of America set the cat amongst the pigeons when he signed a proclamation requiring employers to pay a hefty $100,000 fee for new H-1B petitions. It applied to foreign nationals outside the US as of the effective date and wanting to come to work in the US. The proclamation made it clear that such foreign nationals would not be able to enter the US until their employer paid up the $100,000 fee. This was one proclamation that 12,000 kilometers away from Washington, D.C. managed to set off a collective "what the" of confusion in India. An Emirates flight out of San Francisco International Airport got delayed by 3 hours. Reportedly, several Indian passport holders disembarked the flight just minutes before takeoff. These passengers had just got the news of what Trump had done, and they were fearful of leaving the US. Chaos followed the H-1B proclamation. Tech firms in the US advised staff on H-1B visas not to travel outside the country. People who had gone abroad to their home countries scrambled to book flights back to the US before the cutoff date. Big firms across the US with sizable overseas workers had their lawyers work overtime to decode Trump's latest disruption.
We think it's going to be very successful. Essentially, we're having people come in, people that in many cases, I guess, are very successful or whatever, and they're coming in, they're going to spend a lot of money to come in, they're going to pay as opposed to walking over the borders, and they may come from jails, prisons, and everything else. These people don't. They're very productive people, and they're going to pay $1 million. A corporation's going to pay $2 million, and it's going to raise billions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars, which is going to go to reduce taxes, pay off debt, and other good things.
So what is this H-1B visa? The H-1B visa is a non-immigrant visa that allows US employers to temporarily employ foreign workers in specialty occupations. These occupations typically require a bachelor's degree or equivalent in a specific field. Websites that cater to foreign aspirants list the key points of the H-1B visa as understood by the US administration. 1. Specialty occupation. The position must require theoretical and practical application of specialized knowledge, typically requiring at least a bachelor's degree. 2. Employer sponsorship. A US employer must sponsor the foreign worker and file the necessary petitions with US Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS. 3. Annual cap. There is an annual limit of new H-1B visas, with a lottery system if demand exceeds the cap. 4. Lottery system. There is a lottery system if demand exceeds the cap. That system randomly selects which petitions will be processed. 5. Duration. H-1B status is initially granted for 3 years but can be extended. 6. Dual intent. holders can intend to immigrate permanently while on H-1B visa. During his first term, Trump had described the H-1B program as very, very bad for American workers.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
A few months before his first term ended in 2020, he had been able to ban H-1B visas, but the ban was overturned by a federal court. Ironically, despite what Donald Trump decrees, it is the US employer who reaps the benefit of the H-1B visa. It is the H-1B that has given US firms access to a global pool of highly skilled talent. It fills skill gaps in the US workforce, and it allows them to remain competitive in a global market. The H-1B pipeline for 3 decades powered the American dream for millions of Indians and also supplied the lifeblood of talent to US industries. It was a pipeline that reshaped both countries. For India, the H-1B became a vehicle of aspiration. Small-town coders turned into dollar earners. Families vaulted into the middle class, and entire industries, from airlines to real estate, catered to a new class of first-generation globe-trotting Indians. In the US, this infusion of talent filled labs, hospitals, and tech startups. Today, Indian-born executives run some of the top multinational companies based out of the US. Companies like Google, Microsoft, and IBM. Indian doctors make up nearly 6% of the US physician workforce, and most of them went on an H-1B. No wonder then that Indians dominate the H-1B program. Indian recipients make up more than 70% of the total in recent years. China is a distant second, making up about 12% of beneficiaries. In tech, Indian presence is even higher, as over 80% of computer jobs went to Indian nationals. In 2023, more than 8,200 H-1Bs were approved to work in general medicine and surgical hospitals, and India is the largest single source of international medical graduates, who make up about 22% of all international doctors. It is estimated that Indian H-1B holders likely account for around 6% of all the doctors in the US.
United States is 3 times larger than India, has 1/4 the population. This number one must never forget. So in terms of pure growth and opportunity, US will continue to need people. They will need immigrants. The challenge right now is going on is what kind of people. That is what is required, what people must understand. And that's the battle which Mr. Trump is trying to do, is that I don't want to have illegal immigrants. I want to have top quality people.
The H-1B visa was introduced as part of a series of visa reforms that the US introduced in 1990 under President George H.W. Bush. It was meant to let companies hire foreign workers with specialized skills for up to 6 years in the US. Within the US, critics have argued that it is misused by recruitment firms to bring in workers at wages lower than what companies would have to pay US employees. The fallout to that would be that it not only scams the system, but it also takes away jobs that would have otherwise gone to Americans.
The very, very big tech companies have been known to overflood the lottery system with a very large number of applications, knowing fully well the larger number they have, the more the chances of some of them coming through. The employment has been tied to the company which has sponsored you. It will get even more tied now with that huge $100,000 fee. And that is perhaps a very modern day slave kind of labor mentality where, you can't leave a firm because that firm is the one which has sponsored you.
For the Indian techie, the current minimum annual salary of $60,000 that companies are supposed to pay H-1B visa recipients is a good deal. But if the same company were to hire a US tech worker, they would have had to pay $100,000 or more for the same job. And therein lies the heart of the H-1B problem.
If I was looking at it from an American point of view, I think the biggest shortcoming has been that it has prevented homegrown technological skills of the kind they have been able to import from outside. I don't think the H-1B visa was introduced with the intention of lowering domestic wage, but it has definitely resulted to some extent in the lowering of domestic wage. Now, if we are trying to curtail H-1B visa to tackle this problem, then I don't think it's the right answer. If the lowering of domestic wage was the problem, I mean, it's very simple. You can always get those wages to be increased.
Historically, Indian technology companies have brought the most employees holding H-1B visas to the US, taking the top 4 spots between 2009 and 2025. According to US Citizenship and Immigration Services (USCIS) data, between 2009 and June 30th, 2025, Tata Consultancy Services, an Indian multinational IT and consulting firm based in Mumbai, received the most H-1B visas, 98,259. Cognizant, born in India's Chennai in the 1990s but now a US company, is in second place with 92,435 visas. Infosys, with its headquarters in Bengaluru, comes next with 87,654 visas. Wipro, also based out of Bengaluru, is in fourth place with 77,289 H-1B visas. Between 2015 and 2025, TCS, Cognizant and Infosys remained in the top 3 spots, but the 4th and 5th places were taken over by US technology giants Microsoft and Google. Since 2020, the shift has been more dramatic, with US tech company Amazon topping the list and Google and Microsoft taking 4th and 5th spots. The latest data points to a breakdown very different from what it was a decade ago. In the first 6 months of 2025, H-1B visa recipients are dominated by US tech, banking, consulting, and retail firms like Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Google, JP Morgan Chase, Walmart, and Deloitte. TCS is the only Indian company in the top 10, as is Cognizant with its Indian roots. India's IT sector earns close to 60% of its revenue from the United States, and there is a feeling this latest H-1B change will disrupt a long-standing practice of rotating skilled talent into US-based projects. While in the short term it is India that will feel the impact, the longer-term negative impact will be on the US. A lot of work is expected to shift out of America, with companies relying on remote contracting and offshore delivery rather than bearing the cost of high sponsorship.
Yes, India does get affected. I see a change coming about in that component of tech jobs and medical scientific jobs. But the impact per se, I see far greater, at least in the short run, on the US tech companies, the US medical companies, especially those which involves a very high level of scientific research. They are the ones which have been benefiting from Indian skilled personnel. The impact would be far more on the US, where it will take time to nurture talent, if that is the basic objective.
I guess what he's trying to do is get companies to hire fewer, more advanced professionals from overseas and take the kids we got coming out of school here and train them. That's not so easy to do when we're talking about professionals like engineers and software programmers, doctors. So I think this is not a great idea. We don't really have an unemployment problem at all when it comes to professionals. Adult professionals have an unemployment rate of below 4%. So companies really don't have any Americans to hire when it comes to this level of professionalism, education, expertise.
Indian companies had been wary of Trump and his decrees, and sensing the wind during Trump's first term, top Indian companies which recruit foreign talent for US jobs began hiring more Americans. Yet Indian tech majors continued to face questions over their hiring practices in the US. But then, Indian firms are not the only ones that have been accused of discrimination in hiring practices. In September 2025, a class action lawsuit was filed in a San Francisco federal court against Tesla. The suit alleged that Tesla hired foreigners by systematic preference and fired a disproportionate number of US citizens. The complaint also pointed out that Tesla relies heavily on H-1B visa holders for skilled labor. Even Tesla owner Elon Musk, originally from South Africa, came on an H-1B visa before becoming a naturalized US citizen. Musk in 2024 wrote on his X account that the reason I'm in America along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla and hundreds of other companies that made America strong is because of H-1B. After the initial shock of the Trump proclamation had settled a bit, major US tech companies reassured employees, clarifying that the $100,000 fee applies only to new visa petitions, not existing holders or renewals.
They have to pay the government $100,000, then they have to pay the employee.
The White House too later confirmed that the current H-1B visa holders can continue to travel in and out of the United States as before. Indian H-1B visa holders let out a collective sigh of relief. But what about the aspirant? The student heading stateside, dreaming of the land of milk and money.
US will need STEM people. It's very, very clear. As advanced technologies emerge, whether it's AI or whatever else is happening, we know that traditional jobs many of them will go away. America needs qualified people, and the qualified people come from India.
There is a general feeling that the US loss would be gained for other Western countries, in that the best and brightest would now head towards alternate destinations. The German ambassador to India spelt it out when he posted a statement on a social media platform saying Germany stands out with its stable migration policies and with great opportunities for Indians in IT, management, science and tech.
Our migration policy works a bit like a German car. It's reliable, it is modern, it is predictable. It will go in a straight line with no zigzags. And you don't have to fear a full brake at a top speed. We do not change our rules fundamentally overnight.
People who go to this higher education, they naturally think that they will get the job after the education. These are the people who want to go out of the country and experience the foreign dream, right? So US has been the dream land till now, but now I think they will really relook at like Australia, for example, Canada, European countries, Netherlands.
According to a Pew Research Center survey in 2024, about 40% of US adults say high-skilled workers should be given top priority for legal migration. 60% feel that legal immigrants fill jobs that US citizens don't want. But President Donald Trump of the United States of America is going to be around till January 2029. With his vision of making America great again, he's expected to further tweak existing laws and rules to make it more difficult for new immigrants to get in. America's loss is sure to be someone else's gain